I'm actually gutted, you know. This is the final Wednesday that we'll be delving into a trailer for the Gilded Age. Can you believe it? This season has absolutely flown by, with the most recent episode, episode 7, concluding in a way where the Van Rijn family were quite literally going through it all. The death of Forte, Oscar losing all of their money, and Marian not really seeming like she wanted to marry Dashiell. With the opera war still to come and looking like it's going to be taking center stage, and Peggy's battle to ensure the black community don't get treated differently or get less in terms of education, this final trailer hints that all of those things will be getting addressed in the finale. So I thought I'd break down the trailer and give my theories and predictions on what I think could happen next. So let's get into it. Here is the Gilded Age Season 2 Episode 8 Trailer Explained. Just to let you know, this video will contain spoilers. So the trailer for the season finale opened up with a line of dialogue from Agnes, where she said, "So the long and short of it is that I'm ruined." This was in a room with Ada, Marian and Oscar. Oscar responded by saying, "I'm sorry," and Agnes interrupted him by shouting, "What do I care that you're sorry?" This seems to be following on from the topic that the final section of episode 7 was focused on. The fact that Oscar was a victim to a scam that Miss Beaton was a part of, where he invested not only his money but the Van Rijn's fortune with the intention of making a speedy return. So it very much seems like Agnes has lost pretty much all of her cash due to Oscar. This is something which is definitely going to cause disruption amongst the family, and for them to be completely divided. We know Agnes can hold a frosty glare and also a sharp tongue, and I feel Oscar is going to be on the receiving end of it for some time, even though he's her son, as I don't feel as though they're going to be able to track down the culprits, meaning it's going to be a long-term issue. After this, in the same scene, Ada approached Oscar after it seemed as though Agnes stormed out, and she said, "Your mother will survive this," to which Oscar responded with, "But I'm not sure I will." I think this is tongue-in-cheek, and Oscar is just finding some lightness amongst the heavy situation that has happened. I don't think he's actually gonna die. This leaves a couple of different options as to how the Van Rijns could get out of this situation. If Marian marries Dashiell, he could essentially help out with the financial assistance that's needed. Or there could be a twist and we could find out that Reverend Forte had more money than he let on, and in his will he could have left Ada a load of money which would in turn make her the richer sister. Something which would throw the power balance into question amongst the sisters, not in a malicious way, but one which would probably hit Agnes's pride. I think the second option could be a likely outcome. She may sell Forte's home and use what is in the will to help out if he doesn't turn out to be secretly loaded. The next section of the trailer was focused around something that we've all been predicting would happen, and I think the next episode is going to be planting the seed. It was focused on Marian and Larry. In the most recent episode, we saw her almost sending Dashiell away whilst he was offering to be there for her, and she instead chose to embrace Larry when he came over across the street and offered to take her on a walk. Within the trailer, we heard Larry say to Marian, "I hope we'll see you at the opening night." This is referring to the opening night of the Metropolitan, which his mother has been heading up. We didn't hear Marian's response to him, but in the next scene, she was speaking to Agnes at dinner, where she said, "I want to see the new opera house," so it shows that she'll most likely be heading there. Agnes responded by saying, "So my niece will be in the enemy camp." All throughout this season, Agnes has been on the side of Mrs. Astor and the Academy in assisting where possible with the intention of getting one over on the Metropolitan. So the fact that Marian is choosing to go to the Med, it shows that she's interested in accompanying Larry. As Agnes said this, we had two shots that were playing underneath. We had one of Larry looking at Marian and one of Marian looking up at Larry and smiling at him. So it shows that she's going to be accompanying him, and maybe this is where we'll see the romantic spark between them. She's going there to be with him, and it doesn't seem like Dashiell is going to be there. So maybe sometime alone on an evening filled with celebration, it might loosen the mood, and their true feelings may start to show themselves. The next part of the trailer was focused around the meeting that was going to be taking place with the school and the part of the story where Peggy has taken the lead on. It seems as though there's going to be a meeting that will be taking place between Peggy and the campaigners, and also the educational board. But it seems like they're going to be tricked into believing that it's been rearranged, so Peggy will most likely be navigating through this following her finding out that they've been tricked, highlighting more of the uphill battle and hurdles that the black community needed to go through during that time. I think we're also going to be seeing Peggy and Mr. Fortune's romance being addressed. We know that Mr. Fortune is married, but we've not seen his wife at all, so I'm hoping that all will be revealed about the identity of his wife. I'm leaning towards the idea that maybe she might be dead, as I feel we would have seen something by now. This could be why Mr. Fortune is so dedicated to work, because he's been throwing his mind into work as a distraction. Following this section in the trailer, the music changed and the pace increased, as it seemed as though the problems that the characters would be facing in the season finale were coming to the forefront. Bertha said the line, "Mrs. Astor has taken my Duke of Buckingham." Within the most recent episode that we saw that Mrs. Astor was quite pally with the Duke, and in the episode before that, we saw that she was willing to pay the Duke double than what Bertha was in order to get him to attend the Academy's evening. So it seems like the Duke has picked his side. This is something which will most likely add to the stress that Bertha is going to be going through, considering she declined her spot at the Academy, the very thing that she always wanted, and it's most probably going to be found out during preparation of the opening night of the Met. The next shot was of George saying to Bertha it will be a great success without him, instilling the confidence that she most probably needs in that moment. Shortly after this, there was a shot of what looked like it could be the opening night of the Met, and Bertha said to George, "George, you make the money, and I'm very grateful, but I don't tell you what to do in Pittsburgh, and you must leave me to manage the rest." This says to me that Bertha most likely had a plan to ensure that the opening night of the Opera House went smoothly, and maybe George has only just found out about it, meaning it's too late for him to intervene or to get involved with, especially if he thinks that it's gone too far. There was a shot where it seemed as though the Duke was having a private meeting with somebody. It's hard to tell who it was, but knowing how much Bertha wanted the Duke to be in attendance, it could be her meeting with him and trying to get him to change sides. In this instance, we could potentially be seeing her speaking with the Duke and offering her daughter in return for something as trivial as his attendance at the event. This would also be something which would better her position in society, but it's no secret that the Duke was interested in Gladys, and Bertha also tried to set them up before, so this could be her last chance saloon doing all that she can to persuade him. After this, there were several shots in quick succession. There was one of Mr. Gilbert on stage looking like he was about to announce the opening of the Metropolitan, another of Agnes, Mr. McAllister, Oscar, and Mrs. Astor in a box where there was a surprised look on their faces whilst reading the program. There was also one of Oscar and Bertha looking like they were being told that something had gone wrong, so I'm intrigued to see what that could be. The final part of the trailer was George saying to Bertha, "When you talk like that, you make me quite nervous," to which she responded with, "Good," and then walked out of the room. She was in the same outfit as when she found out that the Duke was going to be attending the Academy, so this is most likely George's response to Bertha expressing her anger, and maybe laying out some kind of plan that she wants to carry out. Then the trailer came to an end. This season finale most certainly seems like it's going to be an explosive one. With the opera war coming to an end, this whole season has been building towards it. I just wonder who's going to come out on top. I'm hoping that it's going to be Bertha and the Russells. I know that could be quite controversial, but in this war, I'd like Bertha to win. However, outside of that, do you know what the real winner's going to be? It's going to be true love, because Larry and Marian are most probably going to realize that they're made for one another. Which might mean that we'll see her call off the engagement and the upcoming wedding to Dashiell, something which will cause even more drama for the Van Rijns. So I guess we'll just have to wait and see. Plus, I also think we're going to be seeing Jack having his patent approved, something which will change his life forever. We could potentially see somebody earn their transformation in society, as this will most probably mean that he'll go on to be one of the richest people there, an invention which solves everybody's problems that they have with their clocks. It's going to be life-changing for him. So, there you have it, the Gilded Age Season 2 Episode 8 trailer explained.